someone's parting way with such big money and going to trust you with facilitating that part of discussion, you owe it to them to give a world-class experience. Everything that we did back there was centered around what the customer would want. And that became the principle of me thinking customer experience, always putting customers first and then trying to back solve for the problem rather than creating a solution, throw it down the throat, which does not make sense. AI is a wave that you either ride or die. It will make customer experiences a lot more consistent, personalized, and automated for many companies. Now, what this could mean is if you as a company had great standards of human customer interaction, now most of the companies are going to have something similar. Now, how do you take it to the next level?
Welcome. Today is our fourth episode of CX Unlocked. Very excited to welcome Bhavin for this episode. He's the Managing Director, South Asia for Zenyum. And Bhavin, you have extensive experience across sales, operation, customer experience, P&L management. You work for very high-growth startup company in several leadership roles. Very happy to have you here. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me here today. Very excited to do this with you and looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, that's great. So we had a quick chat before so that I get to know you a little bit better. And really, I was really excited to bring this content to our listeners. I think maybe for a start, it would be great if you can share a bit more about your career. I know that you have an impressive career across various roles and industry. And can you share maybe a little bit more? What was your first exposure in customer experience?
Wow, my first exposure with customer experience actually goes back to my very first job. So I passed out of B school and joined as management associate in one of the leading consumer banks in the world. I worked with Citi, and I was fortunate to get a stint in sales, which allowed me to be very close to Citi phone operations. Now, Citi is a legacy organization in the world, so it is well known for highest standards of customer service, the scale of processes and execution. So in my early days, to see that from close quarters was actually quite eye-opening to see how customer experience, the standards of customer experience that are there in organizations across the world. What was interesting to see the level of detailing, the systems that they used within the constraints of being a secure place to bank with. You also need to have things that make easy for customers. So in banking systems, especially when it's a phone banking or a customer service, there's a lot of wait time that you have to go through. So how do you ensure that your wait times are lowest? At what point in time do you try and upsell something to the customer without offending his current issues? The detailing in scripts that they would do, the amount of training and investment that they would do in keeping processes together was incredible to learn in the early days. And I think that kind of shaped my perspective on one thing. Everything that we did back there was centered around what the customer would want. And that became the principle of me thinking customer experience, always putting customers first and then trying to back solve for the problem rather than creating a solution, throw it down the throat, which does not make sense. And then when I look forward, so many other roles that I've done, I've taken a bit of that in my experiences.
That's great. And I think we're going to talk about this because I'm really curious to hear you more in your various roles and how this experience have shaped you. Maybe how it influenced also the decision that you took. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Bezos' principle, the founder of Amazon, but he believed that starting in the phone contact center for all managers is very important. It gives you a chance to learn, to be exposed to the customer, to understand all the process of the company. And that's what you did when you started with Citi, while you were in sales, but exposed to all those processes within the contact center industry of Citi.
Absolutely.
All right. So then after that, you went into PropTech.
Yep.
And it was, I think, really the beginning of PropTech at that time.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I really hope you can share more. But I'm also curious to hear from you how this experience with City shaped your personality, your approach of the role in the PropTech industry.
Well, it was a big transformation going in from a multinational organization, which is so structured, and moving into fast-paced startups. I've been with startups ever since after that. And of course, as I mentioned, I do take back a lot of learnings from there, but there was also tremendous learnings we had on the ground while running consumer-focused startups. So PropTech back in the days was at nascent stage in the region I was working in India. And traditionally, so I was working at housing.com at that time. An industry which is traditionally offline driven.
Yep.
It is so much of physical involvement with customers looking at properties, being at the sites. There are so many stakeholders involved. There is brokers, there is developers, there are legal professionals involved. Trying to build customer experience goes a step above just what our customer service team is going to talk to them. It's a journey that starts right from beginning. So at Housing, it was very interesting to build disruptive products which transformed the offline journey into an online experience altogether. Whether it was identifying what is the commute distance between your home to workplace, or there are cultural nuances, like in Indian context, you would have Vastu Shastra or Feng Shui related things in the house. So having elements of the directions of the door and the entrances input into the systems are all the smaller nuances that go into building your customer experience. Taking that a notch level when it comes to assisted buying, when there are people on the ground speaking with these customers. Someone's parting way with such big money and going to trust you with facilitating that part of discussion, you owe it to them to give a world-class experience. So investing in training programs for all our sales executives, tying what kind of journey we have on the online platform and having a consistency in the message was something that I really liked that we tried doing in PropTech. And then there was another experience with a different company. I joined HomeLane, a beautiful startup. It was into home decor. And having managed a P&L there, I can tell you customer experience can be a humbling experience. So if you are a CEO of the organization and you are delivering a product or a service, whenever it comes to escalations, your title doesn't hold any meaning to it. You have to be at the forefront of resolving the pain a customer is going through. So there were quite a few experiences that I had dealing with customers upfront, even though I was technically running the P&L, but building that sense of empathy. And interior designing or home decor is a very subjective thing, right? So what somebody might like it, somebody else might not. So having that distinction between how to communicate your value proposition, the deliveries that they are receiving, was a very interesting challenge that we worked on, and I think was a very transformative experience for me. One thing is customers in that industry appreciate, or I think it's applicable for a lot of other industries also, appreciate predictability. So they want timeliness of what you can deliver by when. They want transparency, especially in contractual jobs. There could be escalations of costs, etc., that are happening. So you need to be mindful of being transparent. And most important piece is responsiveness. And that's where the customer experience part gets critical. Sometimes projects may not go on track. You falter because of external conditionalities. Could be a vendor who's missed out on something. But communicating the bad news to the customer first, that, hey, we have identified that this might be delayed, and then solving for it is something that we did there, and was also a great learning that I remember. I remember my founder saying this. Bad news must travel faster than good news. So in customer experience, we need to be mindful, of course, on how we put that across. You shouldn't create panic as well. But at the same time, interesting two learning experiences in PropTech, I would say.
No, definitely. And I think it's always difficult, of course, when you know your customer expectation to have to come up and communicate, as you said, those bad news. But not communicating is even worse.
Absolutely.
So it's just about going there, putting yourself outside and just share it. And in fact, most of the customer appreciate. Because at the end of the day, it's all about managing your expectation, right? I just reflect to my own journey, like renovating my place. And in fact, when you discover the day before that things are not ready, you would have preferred to know 1 week earlier. Even if it's a bad news, at least you have time to do other things, to plan things. So it's just about expectation, right?
Absolutely. Managing expectations can solve for so many problems of yours. There have been, I can remember so many instances where there are two trajectories for an outcome or a problem that happens when you've managed the expectations and when you've not done the expectation management. Even though the gravity of a problem where expectation management wasn't done was lesser, it might sound much more than a severe problem where the expectations were managed. More importantly, communicating and making teams, stakeholders prepared about what's there and what you are doing to resolve for those things.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think consumer or professional likes that when senior leaders like yourself have to step in to communicate some of the news personally. As you say, even though you were running the show, often you have to be in contact with the customer. I think even if you communicate bad news, they appreciate that you take the time to do so. And they respect that most of the time. That's what we want as a consumer or customer, is just to be acknowledged sometimes.
Yeah, and when you do that, it also brings in the level of seriousness that customers trust that everyone at Helm are genuinely interested in my well-being of my project or my problem, and you care for it. And that level of empathy has to come top down from the organizations as well.
Yeah.
So when you show that care, people around you will also be on the toes when it comes to customer service throughout.
Great. Super interesting experience. And I think there is still a lot to do in PropTech. So you guys were already quite advanced at that time, but still advanced, I think, as of today. But then you venture into HealthTech.
Yes.
Another industry that has unique challenges, as we know, because there is regulation. So you started with a company, and then you joined just after Zenyum in Singapore,
yes.
I believe.
Yes.
So can you share a little bit more about joining Zenyum and its unique challenges and regulation?
Okay, so let me first tell you a bit more about Zenyum. Zenyum is a demand and service engine for dental care category in Asia. We were founded in 2018 by our founders, Julian and Fred, and we are present actively across 8 markets currently. We have been lucky and fortunate to have confidence of thousands of customers across Asia Pacific. Our mission from day one has been to make Asia smile more. And I thoroughly enjoyed building this piece because it's a culmination of 2 completely different segments in business. One which is related to customer experience and making them smile more, giving them a great outcome. And other one is playing within the realm of health tech or medical regulations. So how do we try and make people smile more? We have our products, invisible braces, which we use to correct any issues with your teeth. And we partner with a network of highly skilled licensed dentists in all the markets that we are present in. And we fulfill it through them.
I see.
There is also a range of consumer products that we offer, which is electric toothbrush, electric water flosser, toothpaste, and there's a complete ritual around that. What we've done over the last 6 years is, if you think about dental care or dental space, the first thought you would have is, oh, it's going to be painful for me, or it's going to be a boring thing, probably. Through our positioning, we have changed the boring into an exciting ritual. So combining our Smile Care Kit along with the treatment that you go for your teeth correction, that's something that has been very well received by our customers across all the markets. Now, one of the things that we have to deal with is operating within the strict regulatory framework when it comes to medical devices. And we don't see it as limiting, but we see it as something that we owe it to the ecosystem to offer a safe space for customers and dentists to come together and fulfill their respective requirements. So when it comes to companies like Zenyum and in healthcare in specific, it's very unlike the traditional companies and customer experience in traditional companies. It's not a product that you simply buy and if you don't like, you return or exchange. It's an investment you're making in yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a highly personal purchase that you're doing for improving something about yourself. And if there are any issues that need to be addressed with highest attention, highest responsiveness, and highest kind of care. So we take that every interaction we have with our customers is a responsibility to be delivered with exceptional standards of customer service. It's also an opportunity at the same time to showcase that you really care and you are committed as a brand to make sure that your customers are smiling more often. So what healthcare does in general is makes you a lot more focused on a small negligence from your side can be a lot more damaging to the other person, to the customer. So making sure your systems and processes are in place, communication channels are quicker between interdepartments. Since we are in an ecosystem, we have dentists who have to respond back with certain queries that customers might have. So having that flow of communication going in from the dentist to the customer, etc., are all very important pieces in our customer experience journey that we do. And we are looking forward to evolve into more of this in the coming years.
Great, very interesting. And Zenyum have been growing quite fast. Since 2018, now you operate in 9 countries. How do you do to scale this customer journey, customer experience so fast into all those countries you are venturing into?
So when it comes to scaling at Zenyum and within APAC, one of the first challenges any company would come across is going to be standardization. So it's each of the markets have their own local nuances, cultural differences. Indeed. There is so much diversity in the way local markets operate. And we believe that there are 2 ways of doing this. One, we have a very beautiful structure where the headquarter becomes like an operating guidebook for all the markets. And we create processes, we create systems which are scalable and repeatable across all the markets. But what we also do is for each of the markets, we have local leadership, we have local sales team, we have local customer experience teams, and they are empowered to execute these things. So it's a good blend of people understanding local systems, local challenges, and tweaking your processes, because otherwise it's a one-way communication.
Yes.
Something that worked really well in one of the markets, if you just pick that and throw it in another market, it will not work. It might not work.
Yeah.
So that is number one. Number 2 is the language differences. So when you are scaling customer experience, it's difficult to immediately translate or quickly communicate on the ground and get it running within your teams. So there has to be a lot of investment in translation and training programs that you have to do. At the same time, there are communication tools that work differently in different markets. Like in Singapore, we are very used to exchanging messages on WhatsApp.
Yes.
But in Taiwan, for example, you would use Line.
Yes.
So from a technology standpoint, how do you integrate that the messaging process that you're setting is consistent and the experience that the customer gets is consistent across all the markets. So that has been a few things when it comes to scaling customer experience, bringing in that consistency through system integrations having on-ground leadership. So when it comes to managing challenges for scaling within Asia specific, there are a couple of things that you need to do. Ensure that your communication systems are talking to each other. Your processes are localized and suitable for local markets. And there is sufficient investment that you do in training and development and execution.
So you will have a common framework that is defined by the group, but then you rely on your local team to maybe tweak this framework, adjust the communication channel based on the unique market itself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. How big is Zenyum now?
So we are over 240 people across all markets.
Wow.
These are all people on the roll. And then we work with a lot of partner dentists who are part of our ecosystem, as we call it. So,
yeah.
So whenever it also came to rolling out projects, one thing that we ensured and we learned well was any project implementation required a lot of iterations and feedback from local teams.
Yes.
So instead of just taking up and executing it, there would be phased implementation of most of the projects. So you do a pilot test with small markets and see if that's working or not. And then there are user testings that we do, take that feedback in and then implement those projects. Usually they are done in a phased manner.
Yes.
So especially when it comes to technology, helping your teams do things well. Like in classic case, we had Toku step in one of the problems that we were facing, and they helped us resolve that. A classic case study of phased implementation, which went very smoothly, and everybody was able to adapt to it. And there was literally a switch that happened, which did not feel like a change in system or change in technology, and the customer experience was always maintained throughout. So, some of these working with these players in the region helps you.
You believe in starting something fast so that you're able to execute fast or fail fast if it doesn't work? Is this your approach when you adopt like new technology or you try new things in those markets?
I think speed is one of the values that we have ingrained in our core values. So when it comes to moving fast on these kind of things, we are always first ones to try new things. You come to our office and you will see everyone's talking about how is it that we can do differently, what are the new tools available, what is AI doing. Hey, this can be very disruptive if we integrate with our systems. So the intent to try a lot of these things is very, very high within the organization. Of course, you need to be mindful that you don't keep on experimenting throughout, all and out. But at the same time, having the mixed balance of that agility as a startup, which wants to do more things, do things faster. Some things may work, some things may not. But having that vision of why are you doing that? It's to make sure that your customer experience is great at the end of it, is what makes a lot of difference.
And I know you have been quite successful with trying all those new technology, those new things. So we were talking just now, AI innovation, you just mentioned about it. It would be great to hear some of the use case for Zenyum, how you leverage on some of those AI solutions to improve the customer journey, customer experience.
At the core of it, when we think about building our technology solutions, we've always wanted to make it simple, intuitive, and action-driven. And this is one advice which I think is also relevant for a lot of companies. So from initial days of our customers interacting with our staff on the ground, we have evolved into giving them that experience in a self-serve mode. So we have an app where customers can track the progress of their treatment. So every 10 days when they switch their aligner sets, they can upload their photographs and they can monitor everything. And that feeds back into our system for tracking and monitoring remotely as well. So that is one part of it. Also, ability to book and reschedule appointments with your clinics, dentists, whether you want to get an IPR done or scaling and polishing. So that part of customer experience, which otherwise would have been restricted because of some person either calling you or coordinating in between, is completely transformed through a self-serve option. At the same time, we've also created an end-to-end module where it's not just the treatment plan that you have, but the whole journey from the time you come in, go for the first appointment with your dentist, to the follow-ups and your end of treatment. It's all integrated in one single interface within your account on our account page. So it could either be a web-based or it could be an app-based. So you get the same experience on both sides.
I see.
Eventually, the idea, as I said, was to make everything that can be simple for users to understand. It has to be intuitive. So I need to know what is it that the customer is likely to do now and have action buttons accordingly. And third, it has to be an action-driven thing so that you're not losing the customer in an online journey where otherwise you could have controlled it if you were on the phone. The other area where I think we have quite enjoyed improving our customer experience was we worked with another partner where our customers have to submit their photos to see if they are fit to go and meet a dentist, and then dentist takes it forward from there. We used machine learning, and then we significantly reduced the time it takes for this whole process. So previously, our customers would have to wait for anywhere between 24 to 48 hours to see an outcome of the smile check, and whether they can proceed for an appointment with the dentist. That with machine learning, we have made it instant. So a customer, while on the web page, submits his photos, is instantly able to know whether he's suitable to go ahead with a treatment with our dentist or not. So it has significantly improved the customer experience, and B, helps as an organization in your conversion rates also. So there are chances if you let the customer be around for 24 to 48 hours, there can be drop-offs. There is different ways the customer might start rethinking, etc. But when you find him at the right point of purchase, in this case, it's when he's just submitted his opportunity, give him the outcome that congratulations, now you're suitable to move to the next step, give him that dopamine rush. And then follow it up with an instant callback where, hey, we are here to help you. We are here to support you in your journey to make you smile more. That whole experience is something that technology has helped us take it to the next level. So
it's really frictionless. You remove this 24 to 48 hours journey that was unnecessary, but necessary for you in terms of back-end operation with technology. Become instant. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. Reducing the friction.
So with all what is happening now in terms of buzz, AI, technology, any particular solution or topic that you think will really have the biggest impact in the coming years for customer experience, for operation, for a company like yourself? What are you the most excited about at the moment?
Right. It's a topic we often discuss lately, and AI is a wave that you either ride or die. So I recently attended a session with one of our campus alumnus, Mr. Harish Manwani, who was the ex-COO of Unilever. And he said, every company is a technology company. You are either a creator of technology or you are a user of technology. And companies that understand and are agile with their systems and operations in adapting the newer technologies are the ones will make it big eventually. Now, when it comes to AI, what it is, with a fair amount of certainty, I can say this, it is likely to do is it will make customer experiences a lot more consistent, personalized, and automated for many companies. Now, what this could mean is if you as a company had great standards of human customer interaction, now most of the companies are going to have something similar. So maybe your customer service stops being a competitive advantage by in itself. But how do you take it to the next level is what is going to be important. Customers are going to be less tolerant towards deflections. So the degree of deflection in service standards is going to, a minimal degree of deflection is going to be a norm, I would say, in the coming years, because AI can just make it so simple for everyone. So that is one thing that most companies, I think, will have to come to terms with. That standard of customer communication experience is going to be pretty much consistent. Now, how do you take it to the next level? There are so many tools available lately, and we've started to think around that already. Things like sentiment analysis, for example. So it's not about what response have you fed into the system and how can the system give the most accurate response at this point in time, but understanding the tone of the customer on what they are responding with, whether it's textual or vocal, and customizing your responses based on that. It's something where many humans also are not good, adaptable to understand that, but AI is able to do that for us very, very comfortably. Then there is hyper-personalization. So how do you use the information that you get to deliver hyper-personal experiences? It's not anymore about having the right name on an email. That it goes so much more into the choices that you have had. What was the last conversation that you had, which makes us understand you as a customer a lot better and personalize your experiences going forward. So leveraging technology to make smarter decisions. Everyone can have data, and it's of no use if there are no insights coming out of it. So AI can help bridge that gap where instead of getting lost in the numbers, you are actually generating a lot of insights and adding value back into the system, which then brings us to the feedback loop, right? So connecting the dots across what's happening in different work streams within the organization, what's happening at different stages within the customer journey, and then what you have to do to tie that in together to build a larger customer experience for your customers. These are a couple of things that I believe AI in general will be able to resolve for a lot of companies. And the companies that are able to have a first mover advantage will have
a competitive advantage.
Will be the competitive advantage for sure.
Yes. No, definitely. I think we have been discussing about how to leverage on data across the customer journey to be able to make action in real time while things are happening. And it's been very, very difficult to do it consistently as well. But that's what new technology can bring, really an important benefit. Thank you very much, Bhavin. Really interesting sharing. Very happy to have you here today. We are used to close this podcast with a few personal questions. Okay. So if you don't mind, I have a few questions for you, and I will help our audience to know yourself as Bhavin a little bit better, not as the managing director of Zenyum, but know Bhavin a little bit better.
Sure.
So the first one is, what was the last book that you read?
Wow. The last book or my favorite book? Last book.
The last book.
Okay. Last one that I read was Measure What Matters by John Doerr. It's a classic which provides you framework as a company to measure what truly matters. So taking examples of companies like Google, it's an OKR related framework. Simplistic, but very powerful for business leaders to understand, I think.
Okay, so what is your favorite now? I'm curious since you ask.
Actually, quite a few, but if I have to point towards one, it would be something that influenced me a lot in my early days in career was 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel.
Okay.
So the journey of scaling startup is very well captured in that book. So it's one of my favorites, I would say.
Wow, I'm really not familiar with this one, so I will have a look after this podcast. Very interested to check it out. If you have any superpower, what would it be?
One superpower that I would like to have would be ability to speak in any language in the world.
Oh, I love this one.
So yeah, you go any place, you are able to speak like a local, understand what they're saying, and they understand you. It just makes the experience so beautiful.
Ah, that would be amazing. But I'm sure in a few years, we will all have something in the ears and we can all speak any language and all understand each other.
Pretty sure this superpower is on its way for everyone.
So what's your favorite holiday destination?
There could probably be a recency bias here, but it'll be a close call between Santorini and
Nice.
Interlaken in Switzerland.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Very interesting. And last one for you. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I've been lucky to get many mentors give me advices at different points in time. One thing that strikes me the more I see and observe things is focus more on the journey rather than just getting stuck onto the destination, because that's what makes it more beautiful for you and it's more fulfilling. That gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Very inspiring. Thank you very much, Bhavin, for answering my question, sharing your experience. It has been a great morning with you today. It's very happy to have you in this podcast, and thank you for accepting the invite.
Thank you so much to you, Jonathan, and the whole team for making this happen. I thoroughly enjoyed the morning with all of you. I hope this was helpful in some form to the listeners.
Definitely.
And very, very happy to have been part of this project. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Bhavin. And thank you for watching CX Unlocked. If you're interested in learning more about customer experience, do remember to follow us. There will be more episodes coming and more insights. But yes, continue to interact, comment on this episode as well. We wait for your feedback. Thank you. Bye-bye.